Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Suited Kings podcast. Today, we have another very special guest with us. His name is Jeff Hoop. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. Thank you, Wes. Glad to be on.
Glad
It's
to
awesome
have
to be here.
you.
Yeah, welcome,
Um,
Jeff. It's good to see you.
yeah, so
Good to see you guys too.
Jeff is, for those of you who play online, you will probably know him by some different names. Back when they allowed global poker in Nevada, his name was Sprinks 72?
Correct. Yep. Spring 7-2.
Sprinks 72.
Can I pause you real quick before you list off the rest of his names? I just want to say, Jeff, as much as I miss you on Global, I really don't miss you anymore.
Oh yeah, we don't miss you. Actually, this is a funny story. The first time I remember seeing you on there, and we didn't know each other personally then, but the first time we played together, I actually tagged you as a fish because of something you did. and then after a couple more times playing, I was like, no, this guy seems good. And I looked up your stats. I was like, oh no, he's winning. Have you ever done that where you just like you see someone do something weird and tag them one way and then kind of realize later that maybe they were onto something?
Oh, it happens all the time, man. Especially because I came from 15 years of cash experience, and then I delved into the tournament scene, and I didn't really understand how to play at all, really. And if I saw something I thought was a leak in a cash game, I would just instantly tag them a fish.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first started playing on Global, I pretty much had everyone marked a fish. And you know what I mean? Like, oh, they flatted small blind. Oh, because in cash games, you never flat small blind really because of the rake environment. So, I mean, even if I just saw someone flat the small blind, I'm like, okay, that's probably a fish. You know what I mean?
I didn't know you were a cash game grinder before that. Oh, that's cool. That makes sense.
Go ahead.
So, I didn't mean to cut you off. Besides Spring 72 on Global, what other names do you go by online?
That people would probably remember would be on WSOP before they made us switch our names would be Steel Vikes 7, and on current WSOP it's Spelunker.
Spelunker. Wait, is that like for caving?
Yeah.
Dude, are you a caver?
I just had like a obsession around that time when they made us switch our name. I was just watching caving constantly on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of a cool name, Spelunker.
I love that, and I didn't know if you know this, but I also watch caving on YouTube. It's such a dorky thing, but I absolutely love it. I don't know why. My wife and I went to Banff in Canada, and we did the Rat's Nest Cave where we rappelled, like, I want to say it was like 50 to 100 yards down into this, like you climb a mountain, like I don't even know how far up, and then you end up finding this entrance to this cave, and we rappelled about 50 to 100 yards down in the cave, and then essentially we're crawling through little gaps where like you have to have your arms behind you and you have to wiggle through it like a worm, man. It tests you, but that was the only time I got to do true spelunking, but I loved it, man. Been a fan ever since. Have you got a chance to do that before?
I'm like super I have a great fear of like claustrophobia, so like I want to do it just to challenge myself, but like I haven't really had a chance to really do a true cave adventure
yet. There was one, I know we're not a spelunking podcast here, but I will say there was one we had a guide with us, and the guide was like, who wants to go through this passage? It's a dead end on the other end, but there's some cool like minerals and stuff you can see on the other side. And it's one where you have to go through shoulders first. You have to keep your arms at your side and wiggle through it because it's so tight. And I got my head in there and I panicked and I backed out. And my wife, who was not my wife at the time, she was my girlfriend at the time, she's like, let me in. And this girl literally wiggled through. She's the first one to go through this hole. Just fearless. It was, And needless to say, I had to marry her after that. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah, I think it's a great sport. I mean, it's so challenging mentally. Like when you get in those spots where like panic can set in.
Yeah, and
you really gotta work through it.
I think that can relate to poker as well, where it's like being able to adjust your mindset from one polar or one end to the other. You know what I mean? Like from tilt to cooling off or whatever it might be. But let's go ahead and start here with today's episode. You're an online professional now, is that correct?
Yeah, since about 2000, like a timeline written down, so 'cause it was kind of switched so many things. I've kind of been all over. Started like 2007, I'd say.
Okay, 2007. And then is that when you were playing cash for, you said, like 15 years or so?
Yeah, I was just it started in college, just I was working for like, $8 an hour at a college job, and then I started playing like online cash, and pretty soon I'm like, why am I working for $7 an hour when I'm making $15 an hour online? And then just
Mhm.
progress from there.
Okay. Okay. So I mean, you've been doing it professionally for quite some time now. Um, what made you
Literally since I was in diapers. I mean,
I didn't even have to say it this time. When and why did you transition to tournaments?
That was very recent. Well, it kind of came full circle because when I first started, it was in like bar poker leagues in 2000, late 2006 for my 21st birthday.
You and me both.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like bar poker, and then I was consistently winning, and then for some reason I just discovered that cash was more steady, and I just got stuck in that groove where I don't really like variance even to this day. I really dislike having variance with this job that we do, and cash provided a very stable, like it was incredibly stable those 15 years.
Mhm.
And
Are you still playing cash?
no, I haven't touched cash. I mean, I have a thing right here. I haven't touched cash since November of 2020.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Wow,
Nice, nice.
that's
Well, it's interesting. So we look up your Hendon mob. You obviously, you moved because you used to be a Minnesota resident at one point, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Faribault, Minnesota.
Faribault. Okay, nice. And then you, isn't that where Ian Matakis is from also?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it
Yeah.
is. It is.
I was friends with his older brother.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's small world, by the way. I guess Faribault just produces legends. So, um, did you move to Vegas specifically to play online poker, or what made you make that transition?
It was mainly because I was playing. I switched to Heads Up, and it was 2009. It was so good that it was kind of there was like positives and negatives. So like the games are so good that I was sleeping at my desk. I literally would just like I remember the other regs would be like, "Do you ever sleep?" Like they would go to sleep and they'd wake up and I'm still there. Because back then you had the tables were alphabetically listed in the lobby in full tilt poker. So there was a benefit to being on the A tables because you're at the top of the list of people
Okay.
waiting
Mhm.
for action. And I would sit 50-cent dollar up to 1020, and I would take action from people that I thought I had an edge on. I was game selecting. So I would just sit on these A letter tables basically 24/7 and sleep at my desk for a certain period of time. Just 'cause it was literally like printing money. And
Okay.
then yeah, it was crazy times. And then so basically to answer your question, progress a couple years, and I started to think this seems too good to be true, and what if they just shut down these online sites? I'm going to be stuck in Faribault, Minnesota with, what am I going to do? So I moved to Vegas. I started to move to Vegas, and right around Black Friday, actually, it was pretty wild. So I got to
Mhm.
Vegas 2 months after Black Friday in 2011, just as like a backup plan if online was shut down.
Okay. Okay. So,
That's
okay.
wild. So you started doing that and, you know, basically, they did exactly what you were worried about, but by the time they did it, you had just, like, finished your move to Vegas?
2 months, yeah, it was 2 months after. I was planning to probably in January, February, and then Black Friday happened in April, and then I was in Vegas in June.
Nice.
So it worked
Yeah,
out.
that's crazy timing. That's also crazy you're the way you were grinding there, just, like, literally getting every ounce of EV by just, like, staying at your desk and, you know I man, that's probably more dedication than I've ever heard from
Well
anybody, if I have to
well,
say.
so do we remember when we actually at the Fall Poker Classic, was it last year you won the high roller at the Fall Poker Classic, Jeff?
Yeah,
Or
it
I
was
got
the worst.
second maybe?
I was like the worst chop of my life. So we get heads up. Because I don't play live really ever, and
Yeah.
so I didn't have any live trophies or memorabilia, and this was supposed to be a vacation, and I got stuck in this mindset where I just wanted the trophy,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I had such a massive edge on the heads up guy that it was to the point where we started with about even, but I was just winning every pot, and I kept asking like, "Do you want to chop?" I win like 4 more pots. I'm like, "Are you sure you don't want to chop?" I win a few more pots. I'm like, "You really don't want to chop?" And then finally he's like, "Yeah, let's chop."
Oh,
And
okay.
It so it was just like an even chop where you got the trophy?
No, I had to pay for the trophy. It
Oh,
was
man.
like the worst deal probably of my poker. I was very certain I was likely gonna win unless something crazy happened in variance. Because
Yeah.
he was allowing me
Not like
to.
this.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, it was a learning experience. But yeah, I chopped it. Yeah.
I mean, it's dude, I'm not gonna talk crap because number one, you got heads up in the high roller. The first live event I've ever seen you at, by the way, in Minnesota. Like I sat down with you at your high roller table. I sat down, the first guy, and because like someone, like us, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but like we're good at picking out who's good and who's not pretty quickly at the tables. And I sat down, I want to say I was maybe 1 seat and you were 9 seat. Does that seem right? Do you remember that?
Yeah, you're to my left.
And we battled pretty quickly. We got into a couple hands pretty quickly, and I knew immediately like you were the guy I needed to pay attention to, and just kind of be aware of. Yeah, I don't know the vibe of that, but my point earlier was grinding EV that Wes had said. We
Yeah.
ended up all playing in the Canterbury Main together at the end of day one. It was Wes, you, myself, Richie, Elsa. Wes, you remember that?
We're it was like Max in the 2 seat, Jeff 3 seat, me 4 seat, I
Yeah, I
think.
was definitely in the worst spot by a
Yeah.
mile. I had and
You you didn't you, like, live misclick? You meant to 4-bet, but you accidentally just called because you didn't put the right amount of chips in or something?
I don't recall. I mean, it's very
Yeah.
possible.
A
I
anyway.
remember being extremely tired, but back to grinding EV edges. Jeff was telling us about kind of other things he does outside of poker to to grind
Yeah.
EV. And I mean, I would like to kind of talk about that. As a professional player, you look for ways to make money anywhere you can. Are you still kind of doing that thing? Do you remember that conversation? I want to say it was regarding like maybe like credit card benefits or um, do you remember that conversation, Jeff?
Yeah, definitely. It's a big part of my daily routine. I'm always, yeah, that's huge. Yeah, I still do that. Yes.
I think this is actually kind of beneficial for our listeners to hear about. Would you mind talking about some of the things you do to grind out EV and money to help support your family and career?
Yeah. So it started with, because if you notice, there's always sign up bonuses for like checking accounts or credit cards. So it kind of started with that, where I just kind of sifted through every single credit card on the market and just strictly, I'm just after that sign up bonus. And you never carry a balance, of course, you pay off the balance every month, so there's no interest. And once you get that bonus, it's time to move on to the next credit card. And then that led to me discovering that there was Bitcoin rewards debit cards where you could pay off these credit cards with a debit card that pays you in Bitcoin. So like you're getting
Huh.
the sign up bonus, you're getting the points from the credit card, and now you're getting points for paying off the credit card with the debit card in Bitcoin.
That's
And
yeah, and then accrues value, I guess, or however you word that. Bitcoin has gone up a ton
Having
since then.
Bitcoin has been good for the
Yeah, yeah.
is what you're getting at, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's super cool. Are there any other things besides like the credit card bonuses and stuff that you tackle on?
yes, there's apps. The only one that I would say that's worth it nowadays, because they were much better back then. You know, as time goes on, more users jump on board and they decrease the rewards. But nowadays, I would say Rakuten is pretty good, especially for shopping time or like booking a travel. You like during shopping coming up here in Q4, excuse me, during Q4, every store on the internet will be like 15 to 20% off on Rakuten off the top of whatever sale you're already getting.
Okay.
Mhm.
And what I like to do these days for a few years now is every single dollar I get from any reward is turned right into Bitcoin. So I mean, it's just all free Bitcoin. That's kind of what I'm just trying to maximize the free Bitcoin I get.
I wish I
Yeah.
wasn't a lazy piece of shit. That's what I
I think you said that last year after he told us
I
that.
think I did too.
That, like, I remember this exact conversation,
I
essentially a year
remember
ago.
that. I definitely said that same thing as it still holds true. Like, man, I no, I really I look up to that. I envy that ability to be able to do things like that. I don't know if it's because I dabble in too many different things that I don't know. Anyways, I don't do that and I wish I did. So kudos to you for that. I feel like you could be a kind of guy that gets into doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I certainly I know what you mean, I know what you mean. Like, I guess there's certain things that don't even occur to me necessarily,
Yeah.
um, but anyways, yeah,
Anyways.
it's cool to hear, and also just, like, I remember you were also talking about how, like, you might max out your deposits on each on the sites, like it was global where you get a bonus, I think then it was every 500 you deposit, you get actually 515, but now they lowered it to 507.
Oh, seven.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
By the way, I'm sad about the sweeps coin stuff that's been happening lately, and like how the guarantees have been dropping because of it. I mean, it's nice. It's a little bit softer now that Jeff isn't in there. But
Yeah.
uh, he
There's some fish out in those states too, though,
yeah, that's true.
That's a
No,
lot.
it
That's
definitely is true. So you moved to Vegas. What did you say? It was 2009, somewhere around
It
there.
was two,
11,
It was
right?
2011, right before,
Because it
yeah,
was
Black
Black
Friday.
Friday.
And now I'm looking over Hendon Mob, and Hendon Mob actually keeps track of World Series of Poker online stats. It looks like you started playing, you said online tournaments or tournaments in general in 2020 or 2021. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yep, roughly. Yeah, I started playing full-time tournaments in January of 2021.
And then in July of 2021, you just bink off an online bracelet in the $500 Super Turbo for a cool 74K.
Yeah, that was.
What was that like for you? I don't know how, obviously money is the primary drive here, but are you someone who loves trophies? Do you even care about the bracelets or?
Less so more. I care more about just to rewind a little bit. So it was a very emotional moment because I lost my father in 2017, and it was like the darkest moment of my poker career. It was partly because of that, because I spent my whole life striving to make him proud because I dropped out of college. Back when I dropped out of college back then, every kid was kind of drilled to like go to school, because back then if you didn't go to school you were kind of a mess
Yeah,
up, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It's not as important now. So when I dropped out, I've always been striving to make my parents proud for that decision I made. And when he passed in 2017, I kind of lost the fire, and
Mhm.
I didn't really play a hand of poker for 2 years.
Okay.
So like 2017, 2019, I didn't really play, and then it led to more darkness, because financially, when you didn't work for 2 years, it started to get stressful, and then I didn't want to go back to cash games. I was just kind of burnt out. Like I still don't like playing live that much, and then I actually got into jump training. I was training because I was really obsessed with jumping, and I started to train people to jump, and I was kind of like a personal trainer, so to speak. And that's when COVID lockdowns happened, and I discovered a streamer that was really entertaining, and I thought he was not that great at poker, and I was like, how did he make this much money playing like this?
Yeah.
So then I decided to start playing tournaments, and then yeah,
Okay.
that's where it led to that. And then when I won the bracelet, to answer your question, it was, I definitely cried, and it just felt good. It was kind of like the moment where things
Your dad would
started
be
to
proud,
come back
man.
up.
He would be.
Yeah, it
That's
started to come back
awesome.
up. Yeah.
I relate with that a lot. I have a very close relationship with my dad, and I share, a lot of my poker experiences with him, and I understand that want to make him proud, and he would be proud, man. And thanks again for sharing that. Let me ask you: did
Thank
you
you.
say you're a train jumper? Is that what you said?
I was just kind of into I've always kind of been all or nothing. So like when I was in the Philippines, I moved to the Philippines when I went because I went to Macau in 2000. Was it 2012? Yeah, I went. No, 2013. I went to Macau for a couple years, and I kind of just got into jump training for some reason over there, where I just wanted to jump as high as possible. Mainly because I injured my arm. Because I used to be like a
Oh,
heavy lifter.
okay. When you said jump train, I was thinking you were like there was like a like train
Jumping
jump
from train to
like
train.
on trains. I'm an idiot. Just ignore me.
It
Okay.
sounds like one of those things from a movie that if you actually tried to do, you would die,
Are
but
you so like you got a high vertical then?
Yeah, I did. I wouldn't say now because I kind of tend to overdo things. I was getting an extremely high vertical, and then I injured my knee, and then I would take 2 months off of rehab and re-injure it, and then to this point, I'm just now getting back into like speaking to a doctor. I'm getting everything I'm
Yeah.
getting routines and rehab, and I want to get back into it though. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, well, we're getting older. It doesn't get easier. I'll tell you that much.
Turned 40 in 3 months, 2 months, excuse me, 2 months
I
from
will
today.
say, well, a lot of our lists, it's going to be audio here, but you're a damn handsome man for almost 40. I will say that.
Hey, Max,
Don't
maybe
don't get
he
any
maybe he
ideas,
can
okay?
teach you Max, maybe he can teach you how to grow facial
Oh, here
hair.
we go. Yeah, also, this man has a beard that is just absolutely incredible, and, I mean, look at this beauty on my chin. I think there's, like, a hair right there, right? There's something
No,
there.
yeah. Max is the reason we get ID'd at casinos when we travel, even though he's 8 years older than me.
I got a story. So we're at Potawatomi this week, and I was traveling with Ganya, and he refuses to walk through the door with me at this point because he has to stop and get ID'd with me every time we walk through. I literally, not even joking. I walked in, handed this lady my ID. She scanned it, and she's like, 38. You look 19. And I was like, come on. I was like, give me at least like mid 20s.
You
Then
do look young. You
I
definitely look
appreciate
young.
I
Mhm.
appreciate that. I feel like my physical aging will catch up to me once my baby's born next year. You're a father of two, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, 5 and 2 daughters, 2 and
Okay.
5, yep.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. And let me ask you, are you still playing full time right now? Then online or?
Yeah, so I have my mother-in-law from the Philippines helping with, basically like a daycare at the house here, so I can focus on, the poker. So I play kinda high s I play the high stakes on the sites I play, so I can't really watch kids while I'm playing $3,000 tournaments or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, so you're playing
Yeah.
big stakes then. Okay.
Yeah, I play the highest.
What are you what sites are you playing on? Yeah, we'll start there.
I would say my main money makers are definitely WSOP if number 1, and then WPT is probably 2nd, Ignition 3rd, Club GG probably 4th, sports betting and ACR are more of like a support site where I fill it in if I because I've always been big on game selection. You want to be where the games are better. So when WSP doesn't have something going on, I'm playing more in ACR or sports betting.
Okay.
But when like right now, I'm not even opening it up ACR. There's no point. I have so much action on these other sites right now.
Okay.
Mhm.
Have you had any luck on Club WPT Gold yet?
Yeah, it's been
Right.
good. I've won a 1,000, I won a 1K recently.
Did you really? That's sick, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been good on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I do want to get into some hands here and break down and get a piece of how you think when I'm talking poker here. Wes, any other things you wanted to chat about? Obviously, we want to discuss studying and stuff like that as well. Just hear about your thoughts on that. Should we do
Y
that first?
Yeah, or I guess one more just general question on what you just said. In terms of game selection, do you have, like, a process, or how do you go about picking out the best
That's a good
tournaments?
question.
And because I've gotten this question from several people, and I realize that I sort of have an answer, but I also kind of don't because I think I'm actually sort of bad at it in the sense that, like, I know which games might be the softest or have the highest value, but, like, if I just had a couple nice runs on ACR, I might suddenly find myself trying to hit another ACR tournament where it's like those are the toughest. Like, those are the ones where it's just brutal trying to win at. So, yeah, just curious about that.
I generally just go off like certain sites. You can have tags, right? So my tags have gotten more accurate as time went on as I understand tournaments more, and I kind of just breeze through the lobby and look for notes or who's playing the lineups, and also I will wait. Like when I played like the higher, like there was a 3K yesterday and a 2K on Sunday on WSP.com, and I'll wait until a table that I want has less people seated, so I can when I register, I'm at the table.
Damn,
Yeah.
that's actually sick. So you kind of go through and look through. This isn't a tournament, so you're looking at the tournament tables, and obviously these 3Ks don't have as big fields, so you can kind of sift through them a little easier, I assume.
Yeah, so you just like hit the down arrow to cascade, the shorthanded table up top, and then I open up the 3 shorthanded tables that are available, and I just wait. Once that moment comes where I'm like, okay, there's 4 of 6, I'm gonna be sat there if I register right now. I just
Mhm.
snap register and I'm there.
I
And
love that. I
I
there's 2
remember
absolutely
you
love that.
yeah, I remember you saying that about, like, global tournaments, and I think people who a lot of our listeners are in states where you can play on global and clubs, and those are small fields where you can do stuff like that. I think on ACR when you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of entries, there's just so many rotating, bust outs, buy-ins. It's probably not as viable, but like that is a cool thing for small fields. And I actually remember I tried that a couple times.
I will say,
Uh,
like, I think one thing that you do well, better than most people that I've chatted with about poker, is it just seems like you're just very consistent with all these things that you do, and that probably
mm,
makes all the difference compared to someone like myself. Like, I see that tournament, I want to play it, I just fire it up. I don't go and see which tables are short, and then tables. I mean, table selection in tournaments isn't even really an idea that I had like until you just mentioned that, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm missing out. But also, I am playing mostly large fields where it's not really an opportunity. But
I think it just comes back to my roots, So like like when I did the heads up and then I switched to cash games, even live, you'll never hear of someone game selecting more live like I was. Like especially my Vegas days, but Macau too. In Vegas, there'd be frequent times where I'd be at 5 different casinos in a night because I would just be hopping around. Like I'm not the annoying guy that's like hopping seats constantly, but people love me in their game. I try to be chatty, like boys to men. Like I met a lot of celebrities that were trying to invite me to their private games just because they want me in their games. It was fun, And but I would just when a game's bad, man, I'm to the next casino immediately. There's like no problem. Like I
I
was never
mean,
in a bad game,
you're a true
never.
professional, though. That's what it is. It's just, yeah,
yeah.
you're looking to
You
make, yeah, I
you're
get it.
not the type it sounds like you're not the type hopping seats where it's like, "Oh, I'm gonna move to this guy's
To
left
the
now that
fishes
it's
left.
okay."
No,
That can be absolutely annoying. Wes is always
yeah.
moving to my left, and I'm like, why, dude? What the heck?
I allowed you to be on my left in the home game recently.
I know, and should we talk about how that worked out for you?
Did it go badly?
I
I mean
scooped you for. I mean, definitely scooped you in a few pots,
I
especially.
mean, yeah, you had the nuts on both boards, like
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
and I
Remember when?
folded river.
Remember when we played Deuces Wild, which just I absolutely hate.
Oh, yeah. I
But
was just not thinking about that correctly.
I scooped. I don't know. It was like a dumb. I think I got you for like $75 on the turn or a river or
All I
something.
care is I won 2 of the 3 PLO flips at the end of the night to
Yeah,
end
Wes
up with
was
a winning
buried
session.
and then won and then profited because he flipped well in PLO at the end.
Yeah.
You
Uh,
guys like PLO?
I don't play much. This was just like a home game with friends where there's a ton of, there he goes. There, Max. Max won a PLO trophy recently, so
I'm just a PLO fish. As Umit Ozturk says, even a blind squirrel can find the nut or whatever he says.
yeah.
I love PLO. I'm definitely the fish in it. Are you a PLO player?
No, I'm thinking about getting into it soon because I see how soft these Hold'em is. Even with all this training, it's almost incredible how soft the games are, and I can't even imagine how soft these other mixed games and PLO are. So I was actually thinking about transitioning here soon to
I think,
a
I
new
mean,
thing.
just knowing what your tendencies are and, your ability to learn, I think you could easily just go in there and crush and have an edge over everybody. I wouldn't be surprised. I would love to see, love to just look online and see you're just crushing online scores. That would be awesome in PLO.
Thank, thank you, Max.
Yeah, yeah, no problem at all.
Should we
What?
talk studying
Yeah,
a
let's
little
do
bit?
it. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so you were talking a bit about how, people just make so many fundamental mistakes in tournaments and talk a little bit about your theory about that and how do you go about studying? How did you go about getting good at tournaments, a few years ago when you started, and then what do you do now to keep your game in good shape?
Good question. So I would say I've never, maybe way back when I was in college, have you guys ever heard of this training site Card Runners?
I've heard of
I
it.
actually haven't.
I have heard. Oh, yeah, I've heard of it.
So back in those days, internet really wasn't wide. It was like used, but not like it is today. And the only training platform really for poker other than books, like I read every book, of course, way back, but now like no one reads poker books. And this thing Card Runners came out. It was like Brian Townsend, Brian Hastings, Cold South, like all the OGs. They created the site, and that was probably the last time I really digested training content like that. We were
Did
like
they have
watching videos.
forums on there?
Yeah, they did forums. Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I thought. Okay.
But yeah, these days, I guess in I was started with watching streamers, ones that I thought were better than me at tournaments, and I just kind of like pick strategy that I could, digest and implement my game. And then these days, I would say I just focus on pre-flop, like just getting pre-flop down correctly is seems rare. Like free bet ranges, what you should open with what stack sizes, what you should defend, and these type of things. And I just watch Tritons and the high rollers and focus on the players who I think are world class and just see what they're doing and try to implement stuff into my game, as I understand why they're doing what.
What
Yeah.
tools are you using to learn your pre-flop game, or is it just from watching?
I like Floptimal. I spend a lot of time on Floptimal.
Okay, okay.
That's
Actually, to bring it back real quick, you mentioned there was a streamer, and you're like, "How is he making so much money?" Who was that?
yeah. I don't think it watches. So it's Ship Don't Die.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I've heard. Okay, I've heard mixed things about that guy. I don't know anything about him, but I've heard he's kind of a polarizing character, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
thinking the wrong person. He is okay.
yeah,
It
um,
is it is funny in tournaments how like in cash, if you know what you're doing, you can tell if someone is going to be winning or losing in cash, especially online. But in tournaments, there is a little bit more ambiguity where you could see someone do something that just seems bad, but there's just so many more factors in tournaments.
yeah.
are you willing to deviate from your studies to exploit opponents in online when you're playing? Do you find, or do you stick strictly to what the book says?
Yeah, I'll deviate. So I treat I shouldn't say whales, fun players.
You can call
I
them
definitely
whales. It's okay.
I'll treat fun players a certain way, and I'll treat, there's a lot of maniac pros too, that are just way over aggressive, and they're just, if you give them rope, they'll always take it, that
Yeah.
type of thing.
Hmm.
I'll definitely deviate, and I call it like I'll play like Hellmuth and just play incredibly passive a lot versus certain opponents because I know they're just gonna, they're gonna take the rope.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Any other things you're doing to study, like post flop or anything like that? I know you said you watch Tritons and things like that. You said you don't study on like I don't know how you word this. Maybe not like traditionally where you're not taking a hand and then running through it and then running through solvers, or is that wrong?
Not really. I have like I played like 30,000 hands on, I think it's called DTO poker.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
So I did like I was just drilling spots, blind versus blind, and then late LP versus blinds, and I enjoyed it. I learned some stuff, but I didn't like it because it started to mess with me, and I think that happens to a lot of people where you have your game set and like what you're doing, and then you start drilling these spots for a week or whatever, and all of a sudden it just starts confusing you when you're like trying to play, and I just didn't really like that. I like just learning on my own and just getting my fundamentals down, watching Tritons, watching whole cards exposed, online high rollers, and just trying to implement stuff as I go.
I think I relate with you a lot in that way. That's definitely how I feel when I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't do much studying with solvers or anything like that, but I definitely watch a lot of content and just try to digest it that way, ask why they're doing it and just kind of see what kind of um, repetitions they're making around an orbit, how they're playing hands from different spots, pre-flop, post-flop, etc. It gets difficult because sometimes in these high rollers, um, you just see some weird stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, anyways.
Oh, just gonna finish it up. I use GTO Wiz for. I like it for. The only thing I like GTO Wiz for is to look at three bet ranges for all stack
Mhm.
sizes and four bet ranges. That's like the only thing I really like because the post flop stuff. I mean, it's kind of like chess. Like if you have strong fundamentals and some experience, you can kind of figure stuff out.
That's a
For a certain.
great way to put it,
On the fly, I love
actually,
that, yeah.
as a chess player too, because it's like the later you get into the game, the more deviations there will be. So if you have the fundamentals down for the start of it, your ability to think your way through it comes more into play later in a
Mhm.
hand or in a chess game. Yeah, I agree with that. Um, it's funny, like, I had this realization the other day as I was, in one of my Discord groups, someone, like, showed what we should be check raising on this board versus cutoff instead of versus early position, and I'm like, "Man, the additional hands were check raising versus cutoff, like, I'm missing a lot of this stuff," and it just because I think pre-flop I know very well in almost every situation, but I'm like, man, all this stuff, you can get so deep into every street, and it's like, okay, so I'm missing these check raises on flop. Well, that messes up the turn and river, and like I wouldn't even know how to proceed with some of these check raises if we're called. And I'm like, there's
Yeah,
so much
yeah,
infinite studying you can do
Yeah.
in poker where and as tough as the game is now compared to, I'm sure when you started off, I'm like, oh man, people still know nothing compared to what they could know. Like I'm sure even the best players, someone said like if you were to have, a poker skill of 0 to 100, 100 just being the absolute best possible computer ever, even the top pros are probably like 40 out of 100.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, did you guys ever watch the heads up challenges versus the bots? There was one like 10 years ago, and there's one maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
I
I
remember the
haven't.
one from, like, what was it, 2016? Well, I'm trying to think of the name
Yep.
of the computer. Do you remember the name of the computer? I could tell you if it's the one I saw. Uh,
I don't recall the name, but they ended up beating the computer, right? It was
yep,
it was fairly close.
yep.
And then when they rematched like 4 years ago, they gave up. Like the humans gave up.
Yeah.
Like they
Wasn't
were
it
just
like,
getting
was it
destroyed.
Galfond or who was playing? I can't remember who was playing the computer. I'm trying to think. I want to say it was Galfond, but maybe I'm wrong. I
The
vaguely,
original,
yeah, the
I think it
original.
was Doug Polk in them
Oh, was
originally.
it? Oh, okay, okay.
I
It's
believe
been
so.
some
Yeah.
time. Okay. Yeah, Wes, any last thoughts on studying there?
Oh, I mean, plenty, but it, we could go on forever.
Do you guys mind if I run a hand by you?
Yeah, go
Do you
for it.
do you know what helps? I forgot to say. There's one thing I do that is interesting. Is I play a lot of Magic: the Gathering still because that's kind of what led me into poker was Magic. Um, and I still play a lot of Magic, and I like it because it keeps me sharp. It's a very similar game. Like I play Monday and Friday, more so Mondays, but it's competitive there too. And I like how it's like a fun way to stay sharp. It's like a similar game, way less stakes. You're playing for packs of cards that cost $5, so it's like there's no stress, but it
Mhm.
it just keeps you so sharp. And
Keeps the brain going.
yeah, I really like it. Like it's a really good game to yeah, I feel like it actually helps a little bit.
I've heard a lot of people transition from Magic the Gathering into poker. Yeah, apparently there's a lot of overlap. Chess as well.
Yeah, chess for me, that's
Yeah,
the
I want to think. I want to say it was like, what was his name? David. Who's the guy that got second back? Who do you? Oh my gosh, I can't even think. David, not Peters. David.
Williams.
which tournament?
David Williams. Yeah, he was like a professional Magic the
Mm.
Gathering player and transitioned to him. I don't even know how good he is nowadays, but I just remember hearing him say that, and amongst other people as well. Yeah. So I have a hand I actually wanted to run by you on Global. This is during the Bounty series that you didn't get to play, Jeff.
I
Just
missed
drop.
Global, man. I missed Global.
Dude, I'm a fan of Global's tournaments. I'm not gonna lie. But I guess I'm just gonna preface this. You guys, I haven't shared this hand with you yet. I want to I want to say I got creative here to try. My thought was, is this a 2 street hand or a 3 street hand? And I want to get your guys'
You
thoughts.
slaughtered it, I already know.
Yeah, probably did. I mean, yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. It's a 6 max. Um, let's see. It's the 500 big blind level. So I want to say we're still pretty far from the money at this point. Does that seem pretty accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. So we have the Jack of Heart, the King of Hearts and the Jack of what looks like spades. My avatar is blocking it on my screen, and I have 60 bigs to start the hand in the cutoff. I opened to 2 bigs. How do you guys have sizings you're using here other than under min clicking?
That's a good. I think we should talk about that because I feel like I do it. I like to keep us like I have a system that I just strictly follow because it's just easier when you're playing 12 tables or whatever.
Okay.
But like when there's reshove stacks behind, 'cause you learn this in cash games. When there's reshove stacks behind, I just strictly min no matter what. And at 40 big blinds, I do 2.1, and at 50 above, I do 2.2. Except in the cutoff or button, I do 2.5.
Okay.
50 above.
Okay.
Mhm.
I like that. I like that a lot. So actually, probably, so it looks like behind us here we have a 32 bigs on the button, 40 bigs in the small, and 35 in the big, 36 in the big. So I have all of them covered, but they're relatively deep. So in this spot, going to your guidelines here, would this be the 2.1 then?
I would min because there's a reship stack technically on the, you said the button
Yeah,
with
the
30.
32 bigs. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just min then. Yeah.
Okay, go with the min because of him. Okay. So we open to two bigs, the King of Hearts, Jack of I believe is spades. It's got to be because I got the four colored deck on. Folds to the big blind who ends up calling. There's 5.1 bigs in the pot. He's got 35 behind. I got 57. We get the King of Clubs, eight of spades, three of diamonds. So we flop top pair with a decent kicker. Um, and the big blind donk bets one big blind here.
Oh, whoa.
Clearly,
You miss global, don't you, Jeff?
I feel like this is just like a no-brain raise spot. Or am I wrong here? Being that it's so dry, do we just let them give them rope? I have no reads on this opponent. I have no notes or stats on this opponent at this point. What I mean, do we want to just start building a pod here and raising, or what are you guys' thoughts?
I generally would raise just, I mean, because we're already we're in the sandbox here with some sort of fun players. So I mean, there's times when I will just call, but it's generally when they're leading bigger, and I'm like, okay, if they want to do this, they can just
Yeah,
keep betting
and you're
into it.
not worried about getting the SPR up to maybe getting a stack in. That makes sense.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
probably raise like almost every time versus that line.
Yeah, and that's kind of my thought. It's like if I'm trying to get all of his chips here, and I feel like I just have, I mean, I should have the best hand here almost always, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so he makes it one. What would you guys raise to here as me?
Four-ish bigs, something around there. Like
Since
three,
we're, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, 3.8. I don't know, something around there.
Yeah, what are your thoughts, Jeff?
Since we have position and the board's so dry, I would generally go smaller, like 3 to 3.3 or something. But I mean, it's all just nuanced stuff that doesn't really matter much, I guess.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. Definitely picking at what's a good saying for
Yeah,
this? Picking at sticks, or I don't know.
yeah.
Anyways,
It's like
yeah,
irrelevant, basically.
something. It's yeah. Anyways, I end up raising two three big blinds, and the big blind calls. So there's 11.1 in the big in the pot now. Excuse me. The big blind has 31 and a half behind, and I have 54 and a half behind. Again, 11 in the pot, and the turn is the 10 of hearts. So the full board is King 8-3 rainbow, 10 of hearts, completing a full rainbow on the board. Um, Big blind checks, and there's 11 in the pot. This is where this is where I'm curious. I'm not really worried about a lot. Is this a hand we want to go for three streets on a board like this?
I would, yes.
You
Like
would.
every
Okay.
time, I would, of course, be concerned if you could check raise on the turn, or at least you have to evaluate that assessment. But I would,
On such a dry
I
board,
mean,
I'd probably be almost folding to a check raise on this board. Maybe. I don't know.
you
I
need
maybe
some
not
reads, I
folding,
would
but
think. It's probably bad having the jack. I mean, these
exactly
type of
because
players. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I agree. The jack is a hand is a card that we want some of his bluffs to have if he was check raising. So yeah, so this is where I got a little bit weird. I was like, to me in the moment, I thought this is only a two street hand, but in hindsight, I agree with you on such a dry board. I mean, we can just be getting three streets of value from all worse kings, some eights. And I think if I did bet here, it would probably be somewhat small. I would probably remain like 40 to 50%. What would you think?
I would generally just, since he's a fun player, I would just size it so I have like a pot size rip on the river.
Okay, so we're just aiming to exploit his his looseness.
Yeah.
Wes, you agree with that?
Yeah, that sounds right. So that would be, if we go, I'm thinking seven, there's 11 in the pot. So if we go seven and get called,
Yeah, it would
the
be
pot's
one
25 and
SPR
he
pretty
has
much. Yeah.
24.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay. Well, I actually this is where I got a little creative here and I check back. Okay. So
yeah. Well, and I can kind of get that too, where you're sort of maybe thinking, okay, an eight's probably folding. Maybe we're not getting three streets from like king four or whatever he has.
That was my thought in the moment, but Jeff
Yeah.
made a good point. I mean, these fun players, especially on these sweeps coin sites, are just gonna they're just gonna call off so light.
You could get called down by, like, 5 deuce suited or something for all you
Yeah,
know.
and I
Or
want to
is it
mention.
a deuce or a 3 on
And also, I think another reason that I should be double barreling here, and one thing I didn't, or betting the turn to set up that SPR on the river is because I didn't mention this yet. This is a progressive bounty tournament.
Mm,
So
Okay, yeah.
we're more incentivized to try and get his bounty.
yeah,
Um, okay, so I would lay that that was a mistake I did there. However, I did try to make up for it. So I checked back the 10 of hearts turn, and the river is a 5 of clubs. So it's just a dud, a banana, as we say here.
yeah.
But uh, there's 11 in the pot. Excuse me, let me get to it. And he bets the big blind leads 2 big blinds.
Yeah. I mean
What do you,
That's what's so
it
funny.
yeah, it's like what it's just like what obviously like he doesn't have an extremely valuable hand at this betting this size. Um, and at this point now I'm just like, you know what? I have the best hand and I want to get value for it. So I do decide to just go ahead and raise now, which I believe kind of makes up for the missed value on the turn. However, it still didn't make the pot big enough for me to try and collect his bounty. So I still think betting the turn would have been the optimal play. Um, he bets 2. What are we raising to here to get value? being being a bounty, do you ever just stuff it in his face and try try and collect the bounty? Or is that
Um,
it just seems too big? I don't know. I don't want him to fold either. I want to get some value for my hand.
yeah, it seems like his most likely hand's gonna be an 8, so, I mean, it's probably tough to get his whole stack, I mean, unless he's really bad.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, um, but as Wes said that if you barrel the turn and, bet 90% of the river all in, man, I've seen so many times where they call down with second, third pair for
Yeah.
3 straight.
Yeah. I think especially in this is the low on global, which means it's the of the it's a trophy series, and there's each night there's a low, a medium, and high. This is the lowest of the buy-ins, which usually has the softest fields, which typically means the players are going to be worse, right? So yeah, I wish I bet the turn in hindsight. However,
I'm
I go ahead, Wes.
I'm gonna make an argument that you should still go all in on the river.
Really?
Um,
Good.
Okay.
yeah.
Thoughts?
So for the first point is when he bets 2 big blinds, I think we can assume we are basically always ahead here.
Yep.
Um, Second is in this sort of tournament, I think sometimes you're playing an $11 buy-in, like, these players are gonna be like, "Oh, he's just shoving on me with nothing. Like, fuck this guy, like, he
He,
he just tried to
yeah.
steal it on the flop, and then he checked turn," like
Yeah, and now he's thinking I'm weak because I only bet 2 into
yeah,
11.
and in terms of your EV, oh, yes, you're not going to get called as frequently, but, like, in the long run, if you get called and win, not only do you get the full 31 bigs, you get the bounty, which
Yeah.
I don't know at this point
He could
how
have
many
multiple
chips that
bounties.
is
Yeah, it might
worth.
not even be a
Yeah.
min. I don't even remember, but yeah,
Yeah, so it's like you win so big when you shove and get called.
that adds
Whereas, like,
up.
if you
Yeah.
raise to 9 big blinds, like, you need to be sure you're, like, always getting if you shove and get called, like, 20% of the time, that's probably like, that's 4 times as many chips as it would be raising to, like, 8, you know?
Yeah.
And plus the bounty. So, like, if you get called 20% of the time for an all-in, that's probably better than
Yeah.
like, it's definitely better than 80%, probably better than, like, 90 or 100% of the time raising to 8. So,
Okay.
like,
Okay.
I I think I'm still, especially given the bounty,
Yeah.
probably still shoving, but I think even without the bounty, there's a bit of an argument for it.
Okay. Okay. I agree with you. I think there is definitely mini universes where I get his full stack in this. Unfortunately, this is not one where I get his full stack. I will say though, I did make up for some missed value on the turn by raising to 8 bigs here, and he
Oh, it
snaps.
was 8.
Yep,
Okay.
I did bet 8. So I raised to 8 and he snaps and we end up winning the hand. So I guess, yeah, I'm glad you guys shared your thoughts regarding regarding this could be a 3 street hand, even with the jack as a kicker here against the big blind. Um, I mean, the reasons being number one, the bounty, the value of the bounty on top, the player pool being softer. I mean, the fact that he donked and then I've called my raise on the river means he's probably a fun player, as Jeff called him.
And the 10 too is a really good card for your semi bluffs too on the flop if you're like raising Jack 9 or Jack Queen,
Yeah.
which would be like a lot of your bluffs on the flop, or like maybe like hands wrap around the 8. But
Yeah.
I think you frequently want to barrel that 10 just from a theoretical standpoint of you're turning a lot of straight draws as well with your bluffs.
I
And
like I like that, and having that jack in my hand definitely. I could have more of the bluffs with that jack in my hand as well. So, all right,
Yeah, I mean,
cool.
he called the raise on flop, so it's gonna be hard for him to
Have jack 9
have
here.
have yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe, yeah, queen jack. All those are probably just hitting the bin. So,
mhm.
okay. Thank you guys for, you know, laying me with some wisdom there. That sounded really weird. I could have worded it more better. All right. Wes, do you have any hands you wanted to discuss here?
Yeah, I've got a
Raise more.
few. Should we go there's one or two from the live tournaments this last week. There is a weird one from an online tournament last night. It was actually played against a former guest of the podcast as well.
Okay.
It
Okay.
it's a weird hand where my gut I did not go with my gut, and I think it cost me, but we'll see. Um,
Is this at Potawatomi?
I'm talking about the online one.
Oh, the online one. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's talk about a live hand where I guess I almost want to hear your guys' thoughts from both players' perspective here because this is sort of it might seem like sort of a straightforward hand from our perspective, but there were real reasons to come to a different river decision. Um, but yeah, so this one is kind of late on day one of the 400 at Potawatomi this last week. Um, the big blind at this point is going to be 15K. We start the hand with something like 450. We're around 30 bigs. We are in the low jack with 2 jacks, and we open to 30, folds to the big blind who calls. And I won't say who the player is yet in the big blinds. I don't know if we even need to, but he's like a solid, very aggressive, like very capable player.
Okay.
Um, and we get a very interesting flop. It's king, queen, jack, all spades. So we flop bottom set. Obviously flushes and straights already out there.
Not
A lot
terribly
of
scary versus a big blind, but yeah.
right. Yeah, we're not I mean, he can have a ton of flushes and stuff, but we're also at our stack depth and against an aggressive opponent, we're not like if the board runs out clean, there's not a world where we're folding the hand.
Yeah.
Um Granted the board will often not run out clean, but so the pot here is 85K and he has us covered. We have like a little over 400 behind. He checks. What sizing are we going here?
How much did you say was in the pot?
85K.
85. I feel like we're like theoretically we're always supposed to just go small here, aren't we? On these like one tone on these like on boards like this, or am I don't I guess when I'm thinking like one tone board, but when we have the straights board, I don't know. I'm probably betting somewhat like something like 22K or something.
What are your thoughts, Jeff?
Yeah, on dynamic boards like that, especially where they can still have straights and plenty of flushes. I mean, I don't see any other reason. Just you're just going to bet a quarter or whatever. 20% or a quarter. That'll every time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's board's so dynamic, and it's just I don't see it. Like I think it's different if it's like ace, queen, four, all the same suit because LP versus BB they like never have a strong ace. They never have ace. They never have top 2 pair. You could argue to see bet bigger. But
Okay.
like on a board like king, queen, jack, all one suit, yeah, I'm just going a quarter or 20%.
I like it.
Yeah. Yep, so I go 20K into 85, and we get called. So pot is 125. The turn is an offsuit 4,
Banana.
which is great. He checks, so pot 125. What are we thinking here?
And how much does he have behind?
He has us covered.
He has this covered.
Yeah.
I feel like, ah, man, I feel like my hand is good enough to want to, granted the board runs out, we get a good river, just try and go for it, right?
It's
I
generally what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so I don't know, somewhat, I would say probably just north of half pot.
Jeff, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm gonna be going for three streets, and I mean, I'm definitely gonna size up because you unblock the top pair and queen ten type hands where he's gonna peel a lot again, and in case the board runs off dirty, you want to get value now, and he just has so many top pairs that you unblock that he could have that he's gonna peel again because of the positions. And
Yeah.
yeah, I like the sizing, that would 60 to 70%, so I can pot size rip river or whatever.
Mhm.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I went 90 into 125,
Okay.
and we do get called. So pot is now 305 when we have just roughly that
10
much.
of clubs on the river.
Honestly, 10 of clubs would be kind of I would just check it back,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Um, no, so the river is an offsuit 7, so it's just,
Another banana.
clean of a turn in rivers can be. And here's what I was thinking too is like I feel like there are certain players where I'm not going for it all. If we think about it this way, maybe against your average, if we go for a large river bet here, we want to be against an opponent that is going to be capable of bluff catching because we have a set here.
Yeah.
The only hand, like even a hand like king queen, which is that would be the ideal hand, maybe. Even king queen is kind of like, oh, this is gross. Like,
Yeah. Can I tell you
um,
what my gut thought is here on sizing instead of jamming?
yeah,
I would love to see, because you said our opponent is aggressive and capable. I would love to see you just bet 10%.
in position though.
I mean, do you think there's ever a universe where you're just going to get him to rip it
Yeah, but I also think in position,
and induce him to
it
rip it
just
rather?
yeah, it's like the thing about betting that small in position against a good player, it's like and he knows I'm a good player too, is like if I have a hand that's so weak that it only wants to go for 10%, I'm just gonna check it back. Like that's more of an out of position idea.
Yeah, I suppose it's to level him, to induce him to rip it with hands that, whatever, say he's got what was his jack queen king of all spades.
Yeah, he has like queen with a 9 of spades or
Yeah,
whatever.
something like that. I just want to, I mean, against an aggressive opponent, that would be my hope of doing it with that bet. It's not to get value, it's just to induce him to try and stuff it in.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Jeff?
So I don't think that's like I actually like that, doing that type of thing, not in this spot, but I'll do it when it's against someone that's aggressive and they take an action. Let's say they check raise the flop, barrel the turn, and now when they check the river, they're like capped every time, and you just know they never have anything. There's
Yeah.
those spots in Texas Hold'em where you just know they can never get, because like they have a pot size bet left. Why did they check? Like
I
they would
guess he can
always
still
go
have
for
a
it.
flush here too. Yeah.
So it's like that would be a spot where I would consider, betting small to try to do something, but where they took aggressive action on prior streets and then all of a sudden waved the flag when they would always go for it if they had it because there's a
Mhm.
pot size bet left. So in this spot, I would just go for the whole stack every time.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's what I should have done, or I should have left 1K behind is maybe what I should have done. But I actually, what I did, I went close to all in. I left myself back enough where I would have like a fold equity type of like I don't know, 60 some K where I could anyway, I bet, 230 something. It was just like I sort of grabbed most of I had a bunch of 25K chips and 1K chips. I grabbed most of both of them. um, and he ended up tank folding. He later said he had the ace of spades with a jack.
That's where I think I would like to see, because you know what I mean? That's part of the reason why I wanted to do a 10 percenters, because he blocks the nuts and I just want him to blast off with
To
it.
rip. He did tell me after, he even briefly considered it against that sizing, but then he realized, like, most hands that I'm folding, were already my bluffs, like, if
Yeah.
I have nines with a spade or something.
Who was it?
Um,
Do we want to name drop?
Arlo. It was
Oh, it was
Arlo.
Arlo. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Congrats, congrats to him, by the way, on getting 4th in the main there
Yeah, for
for 9.
94K or something,
Yeah,
96K, something like that, dude. Yeah,
yeah.
man. Are you familiar with Arlo by chance, Jeff?
No, I think I might have saw the picture on Twitter or X.
Yeah. I mean,
I think I saw it though.
he's got the sweet stash, awesome sunglasses. I will just say, like, he's one of the young guns that's come into the scene over the last couple of years and just started slaying it, and yeah, still doing it. So shout out to Arlo, just a young crusher.
Should we do another hand? It's a quick hand here.
Yeah, I got time
Um,
for one more.
so this was last night in one of the 110s on Club WPT. It was like 40 left, 30 pay. I don't know, maybe like 42 left, 30 get paid or something. And again, this was against another young crusher. Um, and it was just sort of a weird hand because it didn't feel like the pot should have gotten as big as it did, but we are in the small blind. It folds to us. We have something like 15 big blinds. We just limp in with 9-3 of spades, and he checks back. Flop is king 9-5 with 2 clubs. It goes check check. What are your guys' thoughts? Do we ever bet this, or are we just kind of playing check call here?
I like check call better than lead one, just because, like, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I think
Yeah,
I
it's a
just like
clear
check.
check. It's not like a two street hand really. It's definitely not a three street hand. And
Yeah.
generally, especially with some ICM, like you don't want to really be building pots with second pair weak kicker.
We're
So yeah, I
trying to
would just
find
straight check.
showdown without putting all of our chips in the pot. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a one street hand
yeah,
basically.
yeah. I mean, you can, if it checks to river and the board say it runs out a couple of duds, you can maybe bet something small in the river for value. But
Mhm. So yeah, it goes check check. The turn is the ace of clubs, which is the third club, which actually is not nearly as much of a scare card as it seems like, because
no, he checked back pre.
yeah, he would have almost certainly bet clubs on the flop, and he almost certainly would have raised or jammed most ace X when he covers me and I have
Because you're at
15
15
bigs.
bigs, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Um,
I
but
still like check here.
yeah, and it goes check check. Like I'm checking with the intention of calling a bet.
You're bringing these real deep hands today, Wes. I like it.
um, River is an offsuit 7,
Oh,
so
ooh,
I'm
I mean,
fairly
I mean, I see a
certain.
value bet here.
Yeah, what do you think, Jeff?
So what's the exact board? It's
King 9-5, ace, 3 clubs, and then offsuit 7.
He's got fives and sevens in his range, so I mean, and not many aces or clubs in his range.
Hmm.
you should be able to value bet. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
unlikely he'll decide to bluff at this point anyways, but he could still have like a fourth pair or something that'll call you. You
yeah.
know.
So yeah, I bet one big blind. I'm on the same train of thought as you guys so
Oh, he
far.
must raise this here.
Yeah, he just goes all in.
Wow.
um, and
Does
this
he?
was, I mean, I was streaming this hand, and I'm like, like, this isn't a thing. Like, he doesn't have flushes here. He doesn't have sets here. He doesn't
Does he just
have
have like king 3-0 with a king of clubs or something?
king of clubs is on board.
Oh, was it? Okay.
But even that, it's like, what if he just had a king? He wouldn't go for my whole stack
The
here.
story doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
What do you think,
Yeah.
Jeff?
What
Are
do
you
you think?
calling here, Jeff?
Even if he had like 6-8, he's gonna bet. You know, that's a straight, right? 6-8.
Yep.
Even if he had 6-8, he's gonna bet that sometimes on the flop with like
Mhm.
he has
Yeah.
backdoor. There's a lot of good turns and
Yeah.
backdoor straight drives. So I mean, yeah, he's not really repping much. It's definitely not a thing. I mean, it doesn't really make any sense for sure.
Yeah.
As far as like calling off, I mean, it's tough. You know, you kind of need a good reason to. With you said you're approaching the money.
Yeah. Fairly close.
and this field's
Um,
soft. Yeah, I would need a good reason to call up, but yeah, he's really not repping much, so that's for sure. It's really strange.
yeah, it's like he's repping 5'7" or 9'7" maybe.
What, so did you, I mean, did you, I didn't see this part of the stream. Did you end up calling it off or?
I full time bank folded,
Okay.
and he was actually so it was Jason Hoffman,
Oh,
He's
okay.
watching.
yeah, and he was watching, and he said something to make it sound like it was a bluff, which I kinda believe.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, and he's,
just 10-6 with a club maybe, I don't know.
it's funny. I mean, Jason is a well-studied player. He studies a lot and studies hard. So it's like, Jeff was saying it doesn't really make sense, this line. So I'm surprised to see it, but maybe he's just applying, deviating to apply bubble pressure, knowing you're going to fold just any single pair
Yeah, it's like
that's second or third.
yeah, he probably had an idea, like, he sort of read into my sizing as my value bets were gonna be like a 9 or
Yeah. Yeah.
a king maybe,
Hmm.
and he's like, "You're just not gonna call, I don't think. Like, you can't call a shove," and I was like, I kinda had the read, but it was also like, "Yeah, but can I really call this? I don't know."
You got to act on the read.
Right, right, yeah, and it's like, if the time bank had been longer, I would've used a lot more time. That was one where I would've been in the tank for a while.
Really? Awesome. Okay.
Um,
Okay. Okay.
What I
Yeah.
like to do for like this, because I play with a lot of opponents that are capable of just random stuff. That's just like a rant. I consider it just random. Like it just
Hmm.
doesn't really make any sense. So if they're capable of that, then it's. I wish you could write notes in WBT. Like in WSP, there's plenty of regs where I have notes that would explain they're capable of this type of random stuff. So then you would be more likely to call them down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
mhm.
But yeah, I would just if you really truly think he was bluffing, I would definitely just make a mental note and then in the future use that information.
I will say, and, he whether or not he listens to this, he's in our circles, so I won't give away too many reads, but he's actually someone who I would not expect to have the just random blasty type of bluff, mostly. In fact, that would have been more of an Arlo thing. Like, Arlo, I'm calling on the river. But
Well, I will say, I mean, maybe he leaned into that. Maybe he's aware
yeah,
of that.
for sure. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
He would that's something he could have
Which is like
definitely
another
done.
deeper level, which that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Um,
Okay, so that hand got a little more interesting. It wasn't as dry.
it was really just one decision, but it was a really interesting decision. Um, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Jeff, what's the future look like for you with online poker? Are you planning on doing this for a long time? Is there any other interest you have that you might be transitioning to?
Good question. Yeah, I'm getting close to the climax, I would say. I just kind of, being more comfortable playing higher stakes, because I've always been really slow with my progressions, and that's kind of why I took a step back from cash games. Was because of the unfortunate life event that happened, but also I lost the passion to up the stakes past 5, 10 cash games, which is not good because rate keeps getting higher, cost of living keeps getting higher.
Yeah.
You should always be striving to play higher stakes, and when I found tournaments, I feel the desire to go to the high stakes is there again. So soon I want to make a push for the high rollers here soon. I don't know if it's this December at the WBT, but
Live high rollers?
yeah, because I kind of do the online ones already, and then I kind of just want to see if try to make my push for the live high rollers, and then kind of set off into the sun with that. Just hit some scores and then move on.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love that, man. I think you would absolutely kill it. I would hope so. I mean, obviously that's a big transition. I mean, the high rollers. Are you talking 10Ks plus?
Yeah, so I don't like to sell action, so that's kind of why I've been taking it slow. I don't want to ever sell action because the if you have an edge, I just don't feel it's ever good to sell action.
Eh,
Like like when I played a 10K during COVID, like I had no idea how to play tournaments, and my wife was like, "Why are you selling action? Like if you think you have an edge, why are you?" And like she has a point, like if you can afford it or if you have an edge, why would you sell action?
Yeah.
yeah, it's strictly because of bankroll size, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah, I understand that. I would, dude. I please, if you do, let us know. We would love to, sweat it. Well, however,
Yeah.
whatever that means. Or to maybe like see you on one of those streams and then break down some Jeff Hoop hands on the
Yeah.
podcast. That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah,
some Poker Go Studio type stuff maybe?
Yeah. What's catching your eye besides the WPT?
the Pogo Studios for sure, because I play with a lot of those guys like all the time. Like I play with Fox and a few times a week. Like I was on three of his like we play all the time together, and I play with what is his name? Shoot, I just know his online name. I forget his. He has a strain like a not a strain a unique name. But I play with a lot of these guys like all the time online, and
Okay.
I definitely am comfortable playing in these games at Pogo. So yeah, Pogo Studios, WBT, and then just go from there. You know, I would prefer like because I've lived in the Philippines and Macau, and I really enjoyed life over there. And we might be buying some land in the Philippines, and maybe that's where I go to after I get my taste of high stakes here. Because the poker scene in Philippines is incredible.
Okay.
It
And
is.
Mhm.
and your does your is your wife from there originally then? Because I think you said yeah. Okay. So she's got family maybe out there and stuff like that. That's awesome, man. I mean, your daughters would probably love it too. I would love to go travel to the Philippines. I've never been there, but I think I would really enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, it's. I would say it's my favorite place I've ever lived, and I've lived
Okay.
a lot of places. Yeah, it's the
How's the
people there. Are
cost of
just,
living over there?
it's kind of like everywhere now, where you know the essentials in life are expensive. You know, like electricity is expensive, like the same cost as here, and
Yeah.
water and stuff. But outside of that, it's cheaper. Yeah, like food and all that will be cheaper.
I mean, food is my biggest expense, honestly. Yeah. So, and Philippine food is probably incredible.
Yeah, it's you gotta be careful though, because they love to fry their food there, man, and
Oh,
that's something I'm trying to, as you get older, I'm like trying to eat a lot healthier because I want to live as long as possible.
well, yeah,
So,
for your
Yeah.
daughters to spend time with
you know,
them. To yeah, no, I get it. I actually, coincidentally had yesterday, a couple of days ago, I was prompting with ChatGPT for a while to try and help it create me I gave it all of the things I like, all the things I don't like, and then asked for it to create me a healthy meal plan and then a grocery list for Cub Foods under this X budget. After tweaking and tailoring it, I finally got a nice a nice list of stuff. And I went and picked up groceries yesterday. We'll be making like some ground turkey over rice and
There you go. There you
um,
go.
yeah, chicken thighs, more rice. Imagine hours on Chat GPT got me some rice and chicken dishes. How about that? Okay. And then, Jeff, I don't know if you're familiar, but we do have a reoccurring question on this podcast. And I'm actually genuinely curious about your answer regarding this. Is poker more of an art or a science?
it's a good question. I guess it depends on the person. I mean, it would depend on. For me, I would say it's it's kind of a little bit of both. Man, that's a really good question. Art of a science, art of a science. I would say science, I guess. Because for me personally, I just have the system that I've always used through my whole career. Because I've played 4 or 5 different formats and hold them for a living and succeeded at all of them. So I mean, there's just a strong foundation there that fundamentals and going from there. So it's kind of like a science, I would say.
I like that.
Mhm.
So we've gotten different answers from everybody. I mean, some of them overlap a little bit. I really like how you mentioned that it can differentiate between people. Completely agree. Like you got people like Carl Caradenudo, Crazy Carl, who's completely a field player, has great results, but I guarantee it he would not say a science. Are you familiar with Crazy Carl? Did you ever get to play with him last year or
I
anything?
did, like I always find it interesting when I meet players that are big winners, and I'm just fascinated at how they. I'm
How,
trying to keep
how
it
different
polite.
they can be?
Yeah, how
It's
different their strategies are.
Yeah, it's
it
interesting.
it is kinda crazy, and I was talking to someone about this weekend, how, like, you can there's certain players who do things that, you know, the way that you study or the way that I've studied, it's like, we wouldn't even really think of that, but there are people who, like, see things so much differently, especially, someone who maybe plays a lot of these live 1Ks or whatever compared to online or live 5Ks. You just people get to see things differently, and if you're smart, focused, and disciplined, like, you can find ways to win that maybe aren't even if you could maybe explain it from a theoretical standpoint, they can sort of get to it without studying the heck, I mean, Max, even I feel like you don't look at a lot of solver stuff, but I think in a lot of situations, you kind of have an idea of what it would say, you know?
For sure, and I totally thought you were just gonna take a stab at me,
No,
so I
no.
appreciate kindness coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of a backhand. No, it wasn't.
No,
No, we'll
it's
take
not.
it,
It's
we'll
like
take it.
you know, you have an idea of what a solver might do and why, even if
Well, and
you
that
weren't the
kinda
one looking at it.
for sure, and I think that goes along with how Jeff studies, and how I study. It's like we watch so many good players who are well studied and make all these decisions, and we're willing to ask why and kind of dive into it in our own heads. So that alone will help implement some sort of like theoretical foundation in my game.
Yeah. I actually, Jeff, had kind of one more question, maybe one and a half more questions. As a lot of our listeners play, you know, low mid stakes online tournaments, and a lot of them are, you know, maybe on global or clubs or, you know, like you said, ignition, where the stacks get very short, kind of quick, like they're very turbo structures. And, you know, how would you recommend they go about studying? Are there any ICM tips that you might have for them? Yeah, how does that differ towards a more you know, opposed to a deeper structure?
I'm not sure if my ICM background just is strictly from when I first started playing back in college. I played like a couple thousand sit and goes, like 9 mans and 45 mans. And you kind of naturally are forced to learn ICM because of, the amount of players that are paid, and, the stack sizes are always short at the end, and the pay
Mhm.
jump. You're kind of naturally just, ICM is just kind of naturally embedded in your game because of that. And the payouts are flat, whatever. Are sit and goes even a thing anymore though?
They
Yeah.
used to run a lot on global. I don't see them so much now.
You will they do run, but you will always be in the same player pool. It's usually just a bunch of crushers and then a couple of fish.
Yeah, and there's more. Yeah, I don't know if I'd even trust them nowadays.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Because these one tables, that, yeah, there's gonna be some collusion for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I would just say learn proper pre-flop. Like what I like to do to keep it simple, because proper three bet range, 3-bet rip range is obviously important. I like to just start where their bottom of opening range should be theoretically offsuit, and I rip one lower suited usually. Depending on from the big blind I play more polar, but small blind more linear. So like for example, like if someone opens in the cutoff off 20, they should be opening queen nine off as bottom. So I'll be 3-bet ripping queen eight suited as
Mhm.
just the bottom of my range that I'm gonna build for bluffs, and then I go from there. 9-8 suited sometimes, whatever, 10-9 suited.
I
But
like the way
yeah,
that's I've never thought about it like that, but I like that a lot.
Yeah,
yeah,
you get auto folds from hands that dominate you
Yeah,
with hands that still have some equity.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
yeah. And then yeah, just same thing when they open the button, and they should be opening queen eight off. I'll start, 3-bet ripping queen seven suited and jack eight suited and stuff like that. Just a little bit lower, and then obviously the value part of my range as well.
Mhm.
And I think that's a good tip for most players, is trying to think of what the bottom of their opening range is, and then going from there, and just learning good fundamentals. Pre-flop, what you should be opening off, what stack sizes from where, and go from there. Floptimal is probably the best app, I think. It's so easy to use, and it's free. You can just scroll through 12, 15, 20, and from every position in one click.
I'm gonna check that out. I have not,
Yeah.
used that, so
Yeah, that sounds great.
I'll check that out. And what's your half question, Wes? I'm curious how a half question sounds.
Oh, no, I mean, that was kind of it. I was wondering about general tournament strategy and then, you know, ICM. There were sort of multiple questions baked in there. So,
Gotcha. All right. Well, Jeff, I will say as we wrap this up, I really do hope that we could get you back on sometime and break down some hands with us. We loved having you on today. We love the way you think about poker, and you're obviously a crusher. We have a lot of stuff that we relate on as well. Um, any last thoughts or things you wanted to mention before we wrap up here?
Yeah, I mean, man, I lost my train of thought, but it was involving heads up. So I played the bulk of my volume. I can't say that anymore because I played so many tournaments now. But Heads Up was really good for because I played like over a million hands of Heads Up Cash back then, and to beat your opponents in Heads Up Cash, you have to identify their leaks and identify what you think they're doing subpar and what they're doing, good. You obviously don't want to attack the good parts of their game. You want to attack their weakness. So I feel like that's really good when you're playing tournaments as well, or trying to learn. Like that was the point. So like when I'm trying to learn, when I'm watching Tritons or I'm watching even opponents on my table that I think are good, I do this when I'm sweating my friend too. Like if I see something I don't like, I'll be like, okay, I don't like what they just did there, and that's why. Okay, I like what he does there. That's why. And you just kind of like really learn to be honest about your own game if you're trying to be honest about other players.
Okay.
And yeah, just try to just I do that all the time when I'm watching Tritons, where I'm just like, I don't really like what he just did there, whether
And
it
you
be like what he opened or the sizing he took, or and I also conversely try to figure out what I like about their game as well.
and then consistently do that to help build your foundational blocks of how you're going to play. I
So
think that's
yeah, so
awesome.
it's hard to be completely honest, because you always think you're better than you are, but I feel like it helps, yeah, to keep it honest, to do both polars, up the best and what you don't like as well.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Well said. So, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. If you do have any questions for Jeff, you can always direct them to us and we can forward them. Or is there anywhere anyone can? Do you have a Twitter or anything like that where people could send questions to you, Jeff?
Yeah, I would say an X is really good. So I'm on X every day. Well, you can just find me as Jeff Hoop, I believe I'm on there, or Hoopy Travels. But yeah, if you just search Jeff Hoop, I think I'm the only Jeff Hoop in the country. So
Okay. All right. Awesome. Awesome. And with that, I do want to mention we do have our club's poker meetup game next Tuesday, which is Wes.
14th, I believe.
Okay. All right. So on the 14th. Okay. Is he right here? Now I got to pull up a
Yeah.
damn calendar. Is that right,
It,
Wes?
it is tricky though because we will still have the Canterbury series going on. There is that mini main.
That's true.
Um,
That's true. If we have to, we'll
we'll
play
still
it
run
while we're
it
there.
though.
Yeah. So yeah, he is correct. Of course, the 14th of October, we're going to have our next meetup game. It's a 55 sweeps coin buy-in. We do have some 25-50 sweeps coin, 25-cent, 50-cent sweeps coin cash games going on at the same time. But I can I call myself a winner from the last one, Wes? Let's
Only
just
if you call me a winner from that other
all right.
one.
I did not win that last one, even
There,
though
that's what I thought.
we had a little bit of an issue with the last one, and it was completely my fault. So I do apologize. But with that, I hope to see you guys on the 14th for our next meetup game. And dethrone Daniel Kennedy. I let him keep the Discord tag as the meetup game champion because I did not deserve it. And yeah, also want to mention Suited Kings merch. We do have Suited Kings apparel. We have hoodies. We actually have a new camo flavor that just came out here. You can find on Tilted Compass. Yes, I said flavor, Wes.
You said flavor.
I like it. Whatever. Anyways,
Yeah. No, it looks great.
make sure to check out the links in the descriptions for all the goodies, guys. If you want some merch, some Suited King stuff, sign up to Clubs Poker. Make sure using our sign up code to help support the podcast. We have our Patreon, which Wes has been dropping endless content on. If you enjoy the way that Wes and I teach and want to improve your game for a low monthly subscription and support the podcast at the same time, make sure to check that out. Yeah, looking forward to doing a bunch more of that. Wes, what do you have
Yeah.
to say?
One other way, you guys, we would really appreciate if you could support the podcast is if you have not done so yet, wherever you listen, whether it's I use Spotify, so give
Me
us
too. Me
a
too.
rating, give us a follow, subscribe to our YouTube.
Yeah.
Just all that stuff actually does help and is all completely free. So if you like the content, please do that.
You're getting
We
good
would
at this,
appreciate that a
Wes.
lot.
You're
Yeah.
getting good at this. Yeah. No, you guys give us a 5-star review if you enjoyed this podcast. That helps, get us up on the search bars, search engine optimization. We want to, when people search poker strategy or just poker in general, the more likes and the higher rating we have, the higher we'll appear on there. So thanks for taking the time to do that. And anything else, Wes, before we capiche this?
No, let's win some money this next week and a half. Next week, we
Oh,
we
yeah.
should do some predictions, but
Yep. The
are we
fall
just
poker.
gonna do that for the main?
This will be our third year doing fall poker classic predictions.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do that next week. That sounds good to
All
me.
right.
And Jeff, thanks again, brother. Thanks for hanging through all those plugs as well.
Yeah, one thing. So where's your guys' main? Where's your main platform? Is it Spotify?
Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And then we also have our Buzzsprout website, suitedkingspoker.buzzsprout.com, which is a free place to listen if you don't have, an Apple or Spotify subscription.
Okay, cool. And then one more. If you guys ever want to just do like a Poker Life podcast, I have a lot of wild stories that it'd probably be good entertainment
Oh,
for.
dude.
Yeah.
Say less.
From,
Yes.
yeah,
We would love
I'll
to
say
hear
loud.
some. Yeah, we would love to hear some of those stories. That would be great.
Yeah, when a slow week or something. Yeah, I would love to come on and share some stories and just chat. It's been fun. I really appreciate you guys having me on here.
And thanks for coming on, brother.
Thanks for being
Appreciate
here.
that. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Let's win some money this weekend, huh?
Let's go.
All right. I'll talk to you guys later, and everybody else, have a good week.